Some of you saw the title of this video and said, easy, I don't even have to think about it. Guess what? Neither do I. What's up, everybody? Nick here at the Lost River Drive-In, and tonight what I wanted to do for you guys is kind of put Halloween 4 and 5 against each other. Obviously, Halloween 4 is a fan favorite. Halloween 5 never really was until recent years, when a lot more people started to come out of the woodwork and say, I really dig this movie, which I love to see, but it almost seemed like pitting these two against each other was never a fair fight. I don't understand why, personally. What I said at the top when I said some of you guys probably saw the title of this video and said, oh, yeah, I already have my answer here. I don't have to do much thinking. And I said, neither do I. It's not because I agree with most people's sentiments here. So let's break this down. Halloween 4 versus Halloween 5. Which is the better movie? Now, obviously, better is the operative word here because it is subjective. This is just my opinion, just like whoever is watching this and commenting down below, it is your opinion. But breaking them down, Halloween 4 became a fan favorite very quickly because, one, it brought back Michael Myers in 1988. A lot of people were pissed off at Halloween 3. Even if they liked Halloween 3, they said, well, this isn't Halloween. So when Halloween 4 came out, people were like, thank God, he's back. On top of that, Halloween 4 played a lot of very similar beats to the original Halloween. It is a around 90-minute movie. It's a babysitter and her friends getting hunted down by a masked maniac, and there is a familial connection there to one of the characters, which obviously we didn't find out until Halloween 2, but you know what I mean. Very, very similar beats. Dr. Loomis coming to that town to try to warn people, nobody believing him, shit hitting the fan. Halloween 5 is very different in its plot. Michael Myers was there just a year ago. He obviously wreaked havoc again. Loomis still doesn't believe he's dead, and the town is like, bruh, whatever, we blew this mofo up, he's gone. But the difference here is, we solely focus on this little girl this time. She's kind of leading the story, and for half of the movie, she is a mute because of a traumatic experience that happened at the end of Halloween 4, where they teased that the evil was being transferred, which was very different. Kudos to Halloween 4 for ending their movie that way. And then Michael comes back, kills a bunch of people. That's basically the Cliff Notes version of these two movies. Now, on the one hand, the argument for Halloween 4, I think, is very, very solid. It is super well made. Ellie Cornell and Danielle Harris are really likable in this movie, and they do well in their roles. The teenagers that are there just to kind of get killed are not unlikable, and they do fine for what they're asked to do. Donald Pleasance is really good as Dr. Loomis in this movie, and Beau Starr is great as Sheriff Meeker. So there's a lot of ingredients there that you're immediately like, okay, I like these people, I'm familiar with this concept, cool, I can get with it. On top of that, there are some really great Michael moments in this movie. We're talking about the head through the thumb in the ambulance. We're talking about the roof chase scene. There's some good moments of tension in this movie. There's also a really great fall setting that the movie just really sets up. Like, this movie takes place in October in the Midwest. And as somebody that's lived in the Midwest my entire life, I was like, yes, this looks like how it looks on October 31st around here. Like, it looks like it feels like it almost feels cold. I even love just the sound design at the beginning of this movie. It really brings you back in and saying, this is Halloween, this is Michael Myers. So a lot of those things are really, really well done in this movie. Halloween 5 is different because it opens with one of the greatest opening sequences in the entire series. That pumpkin carving sequence is incredible. It's incredibly mean, it's visceral, you don't really know what's going on at first. It's a great opening sequence. You obviously, just like Halloween 4, focusing on the original themes here, although I would say the theme in 5 is a lot better than 4's. 4's was a little too, I don't even know how you'd say, a little too high-pitched for me, a little too, it just sounded a little too metallic, whereas this one sounds almost slowed down and ominous, and I really kind of like, I prefer the score and the themes in Halloween 5. But the setting isn't as good, at least during the day. It's clearly, it was filmed in like the spring, and it looks like it, whereas Halloween 4, they did a much better job during the day disguising what time of year they filmed it. The characters here, this is a controversial one because a lot of people hate the characters here. You get Ellie Cornell back as Rachel, although she's only in the first act of the movie. But Danielle Harris is like head and shoulders better than anyone was in 4. Like, I'm just going to say that. Bar none, Halloween 5, I think her performance is like hands down her best she's ever given. Like, aside from maybe Annie and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but she's not asked to carry that movie. Donald Pleasance is completely off his rocker, like batshit insane in this movie, and some people have an issue with that, but I don't, because I think it makes complete sense. This has happened how many times now? And Loomis has been right every time when everybody tells him that he's wrong, and they haven't been able to produce a body for Michael Myers. It's only been a year, and he believes it's going to happen again. I mean, the dude's lost it, and it makes complete sense, because at some point, you know, you would feel guilty because that's your patient. So, like, not only are you terrified of this happening again and you're pissed off that nobody will believe you, but you feel guilty about that. I love Donald in this movie. I mean, you have to take it for what it is. If you just watched Halloween 5 without watching the other ones, you'd be like, who is this quack? But after you watch the other ones before this one, you're like, okay, that's a pretty natural progression for this person. Tina. Tina is the one that everybody loves to hate. And Christian and I talked about this on the podcast last week, and I think we both stand by this. If you don't like this movie solely just for Tina, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the 80s were full of movies like this where you had these very rambunctious, loud, over-the-top characters, but she's not unlikable. She's really not. Like, at the end of the day, is she loud and annoying sometimes? Of course, but that was the late 80s in horror films. But whatever. But she sacrifices her life for Jamie. You know, she cares about this little girl. She buys Jamie enough time for her and another little boy to escape without being murdered by Michael Myers. I mean, there's a lot to be said about her character. She definitely has a big heart. She's just also kind of a wild child. And I've seen other horror movies have characters like this, and people do not harp on them as much as they harp on Tina. And if it's simply just because of the...
It looks so good.
then I don't know what to tell you, because I think that moment is just a perfect encapsulation for who Tina is. So when I lay out the basics right there, it's very easy for people to say, well, Halloween 4 sounds like the stronger movie. You know, it stuck to its roots. It was, I would almost say, a little more atmospheric. You know, did things a little bit better, right? So Halloween 4. I'm going Halloween 5 here. And I'm going to make my reasons why. I'm not going to keep you guys here all night, I promise. Look, Halloween 4 is a very good movie, but I feel like as time goes on, I actually fall a little bit out of love with it every single year. To the point where I feel like it's like right in the middle to back half of my ranking now. And I feel like it's just going to sit there. I really don't think I'll ever see this movie moving up. And there's a couple reasons why. I know a lot of people love Ellie Cornell, and I like Ellie Cornell as an actress, and I like the character of Rachel. But let's not pretend she's not bland as shit. And let's not pretend like the introduction to her isn't her making a little girl, an orphaned girl, feel terrible for wanting to go trick-or-treating on Halloween. Like, immediately you're like, okay, I'm supposed to like you? I don't know about that. Also, the mask in this movie. And it's not just the mask, it's also the look of Michael. I take big issue with this. George P. Wilbur, he came back in Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, and he knocked it out of the park. But in 4, when he's wearing hockey pads, he stands weird, he looks weird, and the mask is just butt. It's butt. I know a lot of people have grown to appreciate this mask, but that's one thing about me with Myers is like, if the mask is booty, like I'm never going to be able to go, you know what, it wasn't that bad. No, it's just butt. It's just, it literally looks like Michael just got a finger up his butt and he wasn't expecting it. Like, it's just kind of like a, ooh. So, I don't know. Not a huge fan of the mask. Also, I feel like this movie almost played it too safe until the end. Halloween 4, although it hits on a lot of beats that you liked from the first movie, and even some aspects of the second movie, and for a lot of people in 1988 after Halloween 3, that was a really good thing. They wanted that return, so this was like something safe. I don't like safe. I've never liked safe. You guys know how I feel about the Halloween franchise. Like, get weird. Take risks. Take swings. Like, do it. Like, what's stopping you? So, Halloween 4 almost is too safe for me until the end. But by the end, we've had 80 plus minutes of a movie to where it's kind of like, okay, so you introduce a new wrinkle here, but you're essentially just saying, all right, we'll give you one morsel of something original, and then the next people can figure that out. So, I don't know how to feel about that. It's a great cliffhanger, but I just feel like the movie plays it too safe. It doesn't introduce enough new ideas. It doesn't do enough new. It doesn't reintroduce us to Michael in this big bombastic way like it should have. So Halloween 4 is solid, but dude, Halloween 5 is money. Like, money. Now, I'll get the complaints out of the way first. Yes, Michael's mask, just like 4, is not great. Though I prefer the mask in 5 to 4 because at least it's like meaner. and it looks more human. You know, with the neck and the nose and the eyebrows, it looks more human. He almost looked pissed off. Not a great mask. It's the Nick Cage mask, as people say, but I definitely think it's better than For's mask. Also, good for killing Ellie Cornell early in the movie. Good. Okay? You don't really like her that much because even when you get to know her, she's just kind of boring. Like there's nothing special about her. I would much rather follow Tina, somebody that can actually command an audience, somebody that's, whether she pisses you off or not, she's going to get your attention. She is very vivacious. And Wendy Kaplan, credit to her because she freaking played that up. She takes the attention of everybody around her, whereas Rachel's just this doddering like, I don't know. No. Give me Tina all day. And I know my comments are probably flooded right now with the Tina hate, but I don't care. You kill Rachel, good decision. But the thing about Halloween 5, the reason why I like it so much, there's a few reasons that always stand out to me. This is Danielle Harris's movie. And for a little girl who was 10, 11 years old at the time, filming this movie, having to carry this movie, while half of it only using body language and facial expressions to act, is genuinely phenomenal. Like, you don't see that stuff. You really don't, especially with kid actors. So amazing job by her in that. 2, the kills. The level of intensity in this movie, I think, is raised. Michael seems pissed off. Like, he really does seem pissed off. And a lot of people don't know, this movie initially got an X rating. There's a lot of cut footage out there. You can find some of it. And some of it will never be found. But it was an even meaner movie before the MPAA said, dog, you can't do that. But I really like how Myers is just like, it really does feel like a revenge. Like, he's mad. Like, he wants to kill everybody in his path in a really heinous way. I dig that. I also really, really love the direction here. Dominique Othenin-Girard, obviously being a French filmmaker, he's going to bring a European flair to his movies. If you've seen Omen 4, you probably also know what I'm talking about, but I definitely think more so here. Whether it's the flip, the 360 camera spinning, or whether it's the way they light the barn, it's just little things like this. There's a sequence in the movie of Michael's hand going across the barn, and the way it's lit and shot is just beautiful. Like, some of that stuff, Dwight H. Little, I know a lot of people like him as a director. I'm sorry, he does not have the chops that Dominique Othenin-Girard has. When it comes to, like, shot composition, lighting, that dude knew what he was going for, and he got it. He got the shot. Like, kudos to Dominique. But most importantly, for the first time in a while, in my opinion, Halloween was scary again. I think the peaks in Halloween 5 are so much more suspenseful than anything in 4. I love the rooftop sequence in 4. But aside from that, I don't think that movie ever replicates that kind of intensity and suspense. Whereas Halloween 5 has some, great moments with that. When Michael is in the car with Tina and she is completely unsuspecting of what's going on, that stuff is like, damn, like, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. You're like, oh my God, she has no idea. This is creepy. And Michael playing into it to almost like play with his food is just chef's kiss. The chasing of Jamie, Billy, and Tina in the woods with the car is super tense too. And you can tell that they didn't cut a lot of corners when filming that, which is very dangerous because it feels dangerous. The laundry chute sequence, dude, peak, like, just phenomenal. Phenomenal sequence. I could go on and on. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I don't like Halloween 5 because of the clown cops. Dude, it was 1989. They have, 2 or 3 scenes in the movie. Overall, their screen time is probably maybe 3 or 4 minutes. I'm sorry, but that's just not enough for me to be like, how dare they? Yeah, they're stupid. Whatever. It was the 80s, bro. I didn't like Tina. Well, you just didn't like Tina because she was loud. If you wanted Milquetoast Rachel, you didn't get her here. I'm sorry. Tina was infinitely more interesting than Rachel, and personally I think a better actress. Sorry, not sorry. Thorn symbol and the Man in Black and not having answers to it, I get that you might be confused by it, but I think to rake a movie over the coals for introducing new ideas, I think is kind of dumb, because it's up to the next movie to answer that. Kind of like I said with 4. Like, it was cool that they introduced it, and then they said, hey, it's for the next movie to figure out. 5 does the same thing. I mean, it's not like unheard of, especially in these long-running franchises. And what the answers we get in 6, although it gets really weird, I mean, at least they're answered. So you can go back and watch 5 and be like, well, we got some resolution there. Did you like the resolution? Maybe not. But I'm not so upset about the introduction. It's the explanation sometimes that pisses you off. But introducing new mysterious elements, I don't think is a problem. You just got to nail the landing. And for a lot of people, they didn't. They didn't. So that's my 2 cents on that. A lot of people don't like Loomis. Look, I already said what I said. He's a drunk that's been through a lot, that feels guilty, and is also terrified. Totally get where he's coming from. I just think that there's so much about this movie to love. It's always been this bastard child. It's always been this movie that just people, oh, it's so corny, it's so dumb. Yeah, and Halloween 4 is a Mona Lisa, guys. No, no, no. Halloween 5 takes risks. Halloween 5 dares to be different. Halloween 5 doesn't say, yeah, you know what worked really well in 1978? We're going to do exactly that. No, the director and the screenwriter said, dude, let's get a little weird. Like, let's get a little weird. And you guys know me. I have an affinity for the movies in this series that do that. And it's not even conscious. It's subconscious. I just watch it and it's like almost like that underdog mentality. Like I'm just rooting for it. I'm like, yeah, you go. You're the little engine that could. And I love you for that. Like Halloween 5, Halloween 3, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Halloween Ends. I love when you swing. Please, for the love of God, swing. Stop being so vanilla. At the end of the day, in summation, a lot of people will say that objectively speaking, Halloween 4 is a better movie than 5. I really don't even think you can say that because some of the issues in the movies are shared. The mask being wonky, that's a shared issue there. Introducing new ideas they didn't have answers to yet. I mean, at least they introduced new ideas. They didn't have the answers yet, but they didn't just keep it basic and bland for 80 minutes. I mean, I'm not going to hold that against a movie. Hold that against Halloween 6 for how they answered it personally, but don't hold it against this movie for saying, we're going to throw you a couple morsels here. Maybe this is deeper than you know. It's stuff like that. Halloween 5 is a movie that, at its core, dares to say, you know how you thought you were going to get this movie because of the last one? Yeah, no, you're not going to get that. And here's our reasons why. I love this movie. I love this movie. I think that this movie, it just continues to age better. People continue to come around to this movie. And like, I love that. I really, really do. But at the same time, it pisses me off. Like, it really pisses me off because I'm like, where were you guys in 1989? Where were you guys 10 years ago? Like, I love to see it getting the recognition it so rightfully deserves, but it's always deserved it. So in my opinion, guys, Halloween 4 is a fan favorite, just like Halloween 2018 is a fan favorite. I'm just going to put it out there very plainly because it's a lot of the same. It's these beats that they've hit before. And if that's your comfort zone, I understand why you love it. But it's not my comfort zone. I've seen it done before, multiple times now. Can we do something different? They did something different, and I loved it. I didn't just love it because they did something different. I liked what they did. I gave you reasons for why I liked it and what I liked about it. But I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. And I know a lot of it's going to be Halloween 4 love and Halloween 5 hate. Or I think a lot of it will really just be people like, no, I like 5, but I prefer 4. Whatever it may be, discuss it down below with me. I'd really love to hear from you guys. But let's keep it respectful, okay? Please leave a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching. And this is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.